Welcome back to another video. My name is Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to attract a specific person into your life or to get an ex back in your life. Now with this video, I was asked literally probably 4 or 5 different comments in different YouTube videos, plus messages on Instagram and Facebook, this same question: how do we attract an ex back into our life? And I figured the easiest way to answer this would be via video. So here we are. Now, I'm going to be taking you on a journey of understanding 3 main concepts behind this principle of what we must do, how we must go about this in order to open up the probabilities of us being with someone in that way. Now, first off, realize that coming here, you may have expected me to give you some like technique, maybe some type of like, you know, something that you do that then makes it so that person wants to be with you. But realize this is more about understanding that this is about who we become. Depending upon who we are being, that is what we are attracting into our life. So it's nothing specific that you're going to do. It's more about the energy underneath the doing that's going to then become magnetic or become something that then attracts someone specific into your life. So knowing that, this is my saying I say all the time, or you know, it's a very common saying, but you don't attract what you want, but you attract who you are. This also works for relationships. Now, the first part I want to give to you is understanding how we must be in our own movie. Now, anytime we're asking this question, we're automatically coming from the frame of us trying to become a part of someone else's movie, especially if it's someone specific. So the idea is that we are putting this person on a pedestal and we're doing everything we can to get them into our life. We're trying to get into their reality, into their movie, and bring them into ours. Now, the more powerful part of this is understanding that when we do that, we put ourselves at the effect rather than being at the cause. So understanding this, it's more about us being at the cause rather than the effect, us being the star of our own movie, not trying to be a cameo in someone else's. And the power of this is that when we begin to live in the authentic expression of who we are, when we begin to act in that energy state, there's something very magnetic about it. And it becomes a bit of a paradox because when we're doing what we're passionate about, it's like we attract others who are resonating with that. And we may find that if we start to act on our passions, if we start to become this best version of ourselves, if we start to focus on ourselves and knowing that we're already 100% whole and complete, there's more likelihood that from that energy state, we will attract other people that also resonate with it. And we may find out that that original ex that we wanted back into our life doesn't actually even resonate. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it could be something that does happen because who they liked, the ex, was more likely the person that you were. But when you start to become the best version of yourself, when you start to not live at the effect, but you live at the cause, you have more of an ability to hold your own frame of reality. Now, when you hold your own frame, doesn't mean you're egotistically going around and kind of demanding what happens, but when you're grounded in yourself, there's something that's very powerful about it, and you then become less reactive to other people, and that makes you more attractive, and that makes you more your actual self. Now, the second tip that I want to give for you is understanding how to put yourself in the right energy state. And this is about understanding how we must condition ourselves to become that which we prefer to then attract that which we want. So as the most powerful technique that I have for this is being able to, when you go to bed at night, the last 20 minutes before you sleep, when you're drifting off to sleep, is the most powerful time that you have to condition your subconscious mind, because when you start to go to bed, you're going from a beta brainwave activity to an alpha to a theta to a delta, and that is closer to influencing the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind speaks in the language of feeling. So if we learn to feel the feeling of what it would be like to be with that perfect version or that perfect person that we want to be with, or even a specific person, we can imagine what it would be like to look into that person's eyes, what it would be like to go out with that person, to confide trust in that person, to spend time with that person. as we begin to do this and we begin to, more importantly than see it, than think it, as we begin to feel and embody those emotions, we begin to condition it into a part of who we are. And I recommend that when you do this, realize that you have the ability to generate the feeling from within. And that when you generate that feeling, you realize that even though you thought you needed somebody else outside of you to make you feel that way, you actually can do it yourself. Now, it doesn't mean you don't ever need to be in a relationship, but what I'm saying is you then get the power to generate the state from within. It becomes magnetic and other people want to feel it. Now, a lot of times when we're coming at it from the frame of how do I get an X back, there's resistance there because then we're acknowledging that that X isn't here right now. And even if we have profound love for that person, the fact that that person's not here causes that resistance. That resistance acts as a barrier to where then when we see that person, it repels. That's why it's important to generate the state of that, begin to condition it into a part of who we are. Then there's much more likelihood that our energy will attract that person because it's almost like we open up the probabilities. The probabilities that exist are all the probabilities you can imagine exist right now in this moment. I have a lot of videos on this idea, and realize that from understanding this, the way that we open up the probabilities of experiencing that is by generating the state from within, but also not having an expectation as to how that comes about. What if you were blinding yourself from other people coming into your life because you were so focused on that one person? What if there could be so many other people or so many other experiences that you could have that could actually more resonate with who you are and reflect back to you an even deeper amount of love, but because of that attachment to the ideology or the attachment to that person, that is causing resistance from actually experiencing that person. So you have to let that go and you have to start to feel what it would feel like to be with that person and realize that you have the ability to generate the state from within. Also change the belief about who you are, thinking you need somebody out of yourself, outside of you to make you feel a certain way. As you begin to do that, you then begin to see that you live within your own frame, you generate the state from within, and you condition yourself to being that which is very magnetic. The third tip I have for you guys is a little bit paradoxical because it's not what you want to hear from me right now. But the thing that will bring you the absolute closest to attracting that person into your life is to completely let that person go. I know you don't want to hear it, but understand that when you let that person go, maybe you have an intention for it, but you're not attached to the outcome. But the reason you must do this is because when you let that person go, when you're not focused on how this has to happen, what you then begin to do is drop that resistance that I was talking about. There's so many times that I've seen somebody, like a friend, who got out of a relationship, maybe was heartbroken by it because maybe the other person broke up with them, then is asking for advice about it, and the moment that that person goes out, starts to have fun with friends, starts to not necessarily need to get through to somebody else and find someone new to distract them, but the moment they just start having fun with their friends and they start to just be in their own movie, all of a sudden that ex is coming back to them, is hitting them up. Sometimes they then get to a place to where then they don't even want that person anymore. They're not attached to that specific person in the same way, and it's almost like it's okay either way. That's the energy state that you have to get to where you'll have the most probability of attracting that person into your life. I've seen it happen so many times to where when you let that person go, they come back at you. It's almost like subconsciously they can feel if you are dependent on their energy. If you feel like when you think about them, you're feeling the resistance. Women especially can feel that off of someone else. And understanding that we must get ourselves to a place of letting that person go opens up the probability of them coming back because that energy is not there to retract them or to repel them. It's almost like if we feel resistance, if we feel expectation as to the outcome, it's like a magnet reversed. It's like it repels more so than anything else. And the moment we let it go, all of a sudden we have more ability to attract it into our life. But remember, the paradox is that when you start to live in the authentic expression of who you are, you start to live in your own movie by taking action, doing what you love to do, knowing you're already whole and complete, then there's something about it that gives you the ability to attract whoever you want into your life. So that's where the power is. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to like this video if you liked it, share it if you found it of value, and as always, I will see you guys on the next video. Peace, much love, namaste.